Hi everyone. From today onwards, we are going to talk about the digestive system. It is an important one, and in exams, there are many questions which are being asked from this particular system or particular topic. So, it is important. So, today we are going to talk about the functional anatomy of the digestive system. Digestion is defined as the process by which food is broken down into the simple chemical substances that can be absorbed and used as nutrients by the body. Most of the substances in the diet cannot be utilized as such. These substances must be broken into smaller particles so that they can be absorbed into blood and distributed to various parts of the body for utilization. Digestive system is responsible for these functions. We'll see the functions. Digestive process is accomplished by mechanical and enzymatic breakdown of food into simpler chemical compounds. A normal young healthy adult consumes about 1 kg of solid diet and about 1 to 2 liters of liquid diet every day. All these food materials are subjected to digestive process before being absorbed into blood and distributed to the tissues of the body. Digestive system plays the major role in the digestion and absorption of the food particles or substances. That is how the functions of digestive system include ingestion or the consumption of the food substances, breaking them into small particles, transport of small particles to different areas of the digestive tract, secretion of necessary enzymes and other substances for digestion, digestion of the food particles, absorption of the digestive products or nutrients, and removal of unwanted substances from the body. Now we'll see the functional anatomy of the digestive system. Digestive system is made up of gastrointestinal tract, which is also called GI tract or alimentary canal, and accessory organs, which help in the process of digestion and absorption. GI tract is a tubular structure extending from the mouth up to anus with a length of about 30 feet. It opens to the external environment on both the sides or both the ends. GI tract is formed by two types of organs. First would be the primary digestive organs and second would be the accessory digestive organs. First we'll see the primary digestive organs. Primary digestive organs are the organs where actually digestion takes place, and primary digestion organs would be mouth, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine and large intestine. Accessory digestive organs. Accessory digestive organs are those which help primary digestive organs in the process of digestion. Accessory digestive organ would be teeth, tongue, salivary glands, exocrine part of pancreas, liver and gallbladder. In this figure we can see all the parts of GI tract. Now we'll see the wall of gastrointestinal tract. In general, wall of the GI tract is formed by 4 layers which are from inside out. First would be the mucus layer, then there is a submucous layer, then muscular layer and the serous or fibrous layer. Mucus layer. Mucus layer is the innermost layer of the wall of GI tract. It is also called gastrointestinal mucosa or mucous membrane. It faces the cavity of GI tract. Mucosa has 3 layers of structures. 1. Epithelial lining. Second. Lamina propria. and the third is muscularis mucosa. Epithelial lining. Epithelial lining is in contact with the contents of GI tract. The type of cell in this layer varies in different parts of the GI tract. The inner surface of mouth, surface of tongue, inner surface of pharynx and esophagus have stratified squamous epithelial cells. However, mucous membrane lining the other parts such as stomach, small intestine and large intestine has columnar epithelial cells. Second structure, lamina propria. Lamina propria is formed by connective tissues which contain fibroblasts, macrophages, lymphocytes and eosinophils. Third, muscularis mucosa. Muscularis mucosa layer consists of a thin layer of smooth muscle fibers. It is absent in mouth and pharynx. It is present from esophagus onwards. Second layer, which is submucous layer. Submucous layer is also present in all parts of GI tract except the mouth and pharynx. It contains loose collagen fibers, elastic fibers, reticular fibers and few cells of connective tissue. Blood vessels, lymphatic vessels and nerve plexus are present in this layer. Muscular layer. Muscular layer in lips, cheeks and wall of pharynx contains skeletal muscle fibers. The esophagus has both skeletal and smooth muscle fibers. Wall of stomach and intestine is formed by smooth muscle fibers. Smooth muscle fibers in stomach are arranged in three layers: inner oblique layer, middle circular layer and outer longitudinal layer. Smooth muscle fibers in the intestine are arranged in two layers. First is inner circular layer and second is outer longitudinal layer. Orbic nerve plexus is present in between the circular and longitudinal muscle fibers. The smooth muscle fibers present in inner circular layer of anal canal constitute internal anal sphincter. The external anal sphincter is formed by skeletal muscle fibers. Fourth layer is the serous or fibrous layer. Outermost layer of the wall of GI tract is either serous or fibrous in nature. The serous layer is also called serosa or serous membrane and it is formed by the connective tissue and mesoepithelial cells. It covers stomach, small intestine and large intestine. The fibrous layer is otherwise called the fibrosa and it is formed by the connective tissue. It covers pharynx and esophagus. This is the structure of intestinal wall with the intrinsic nerve plexus. Serosa, the outermost, the longitudinal muscles, circular muscle, submucosa, mucosa, orbic plexus, this side and mesonar plexus. Now we'll see the nerves supply to the gastrointestinal tract. GI tract has two types of nerve supply. First is the intrinsic nerve supply and second is the extrinsic nerve supply. Intrinsic nerve supply or enteric nervous system. Intrinsic nerves to GI tract form the enteric nervous system that controls all the secretions and movements of GI tract. Enteric nervous system is present within the wall of GI tract from esophagus to anus. Nerve fibers of this system are interconnected and form two major networks called orbic plexus and mesonar plexus. These nerve plexus contain nerve cell bodies, processes of nerve cells and the receptors. The receptors in the GI tract are stretch receptors and chemoreceptors. Enteric nervous system is controlled by extrinsic nerves. Orbic plexus. Orbic plexus is known as myenteric nerve plexus, It is present in between the inner circular muscle layer and the outer longitudinal muscle layer. Functions of orbic plexus. Major function of this plexus is to regulate the movements of GI tract. Some nerve fibers of this plexus accelerate the movements by secreting the excitatory neurotransmitter substances like acetylcholine, serotonin, and substance P. Other fibers of this plexus inhibit the GI motility by secreting the inhibitory neurotransmitters such as the vasoactive intestinal polypeptide, neurotensin, and enkephalin. Mesonar nerve plexus. Mesonar nerve plexus is otherwise called submucous nerve plexus. It is situated in between the muscular layer and submucous layer of the GI tract. Functions of the mesonar plexus. Function of mesonar plexus is the regulation of secretory functions of the GI tract. These nerve fibers cause constriction of the blood vessels of GI tract. Extrinsic nerve supply. Extrinsic nerves that control the enteric nervous system are from autonomic nervous system. Both sympathetic and parasympathetic divisions of autonomic nervous system innervate the GI tract. Sympathetic nerve fibers. Preganglionic sympathetic nerve fibers to GI tract arise from lateral horns of the spinal cord between the fifth thoracic and second lumbar segments. T5 to L2. From here, the fibers leave the spinal cord, pass through the ganglia of the sympathetic chain without having any synapse, and then terminate in the celiac and mesenteric ganglia. The postganglionic fibers from this ganglia are distributed throughout the GI tract. Functions of the sympathetic nerve fibers. Sympathetic nerve fibers inhibit the movements and increase the secretion of GI tract by secreting the neurotransmitter noradrenaline. It also causes constriction of the sphincters. Parasympathetic nerve fibers. Parasympathetic nerve fibers to GI tract pass through some of the cranial nerve and sacral nerves. The preganglionic and postganglionic parasympathetic nerve fibers to mouth and salivary glands pass through facial and glossopharyngeal nerves. Preganglionic parasympathetic nerve fibers to esophagus, stomach, small intestine, and upper part of the large intestine pass through vagus nerve. Preganglionic nerve fibers to lower part of the large intestine arise from second, third, and fourth sacral segment, which is S2, S3, and S4 of the spinal cord, and pass through the pelvic nerve. All these preganglionic parasympathetic nerve fibers synapse within the postganglionic nerve cells in the mesenteric and submucous plexus. Functions of the parasympathetic nerve fibers. Parasympathetic nerve fibers accelerate the movements and increase the secretion of GI tract. The neurotransmitter secreted by the parasympathetic nerve fiber is acetylcholine or ACH. So this was all about this topic. This is the basic concept about the GI tract, the layers, the nerve supply, primary and accessory digestive organs, and the basic functions of the digestive system. So this was all about today's topic. Let me know if you are having any query. Thank you.